I'm
Welcome
imagining.
to Zelda Speedruns. We have for you from the Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament 2024 a brackets round 1 game 2 matchup between Knucks and Sassagelink. I'm VT Slacker, I'll be your tracker, and I am joined in the commentary booth by Sonny Wrath and Nightcrawler, so I will give it to them to take it away.
Thanks, VT. Nightcrawler, we meet again!
We meet once more. It is a good day for Zelda 2 Randomizer, and a long day for Zelda 2 Randomizer. If you guys like Zelda 2, you got plenty of games coming up. There's 4 eyes and 2 heads. You can do it.
Oh, absolutely. And we have the first game of the night here. Knucks versus Sassagelink. This is game 2, a potential elimination.
Any racer go home, but it's got to happen at some point. And, I'm happy to see Sassagelink and Knucks play because I haven't really actually watched too many of their games before.
Thank you, VT. Knucks up 1-0. If Knucks wins, he gets to face Chroma, which that's a tall order.
Yeah, Chroma's a beast. Chroma's absolutely a beast. Gotta refresh this. I'm having a little bit of a problem with buffering, so I'm trying to get that figured out.
All right, Medicine West for Reflect.
Medicine West for Reflect. Well, that's an essential spell that they need, so good to have that.
Absolutely, as Grass Tile yields a Flute or a Plunger, depending upon how you want to look at it.
I'll go with Plunger today. It's the day after Thanksgiving. There's a need.
That's true. All right, we have a 3-6 located from Sassage, and Knucks going to the cave over here to find a River Canyon East.
Sorry, still trying to get this set up. It's not working too well, but I'm gonna get it set up on my cell phone. I think that should work.
All right, so Darunia has jump. So far, no hint found. So that child will at least give the ability to jump higher, unless fire could be connected to jump.
That would be a bit unfortunate. It's already kind of a low cost spell.
Ooh, P3 Child. Rebo rides with the child. That's always a fun one to find, since P3 is relatively small when you actually look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have a quick P1 sighting on the east, as well as a 3-Eye Rock with the Flute in tow. That's super nice. And a 500-point bag here on the desert tile, even better.
Oh yeah, early P bags are great because later on in the game they really honestly might not matter, but early on in the game you can get several levels from them.
Oh, absolutely. And 3-Eye Rock check from Knucks. It's one of the Death Valley tiles, and it looked like the magic one. And into Old Kasuto, where there's fire here.
Well, we're gonna find out. Maybe not immediately, but we'll find out if it was linked with jump after all.
Well, it can be cast, so I have a feeling Knucks will walk out here and then immediately cast it. Oh, it's not connected to jump. It's life instead.
Wow, already so far already on the Eastern Continent, so that's pretty great to see.
I mean, as a certain person would say, it's time to feast on the East. So life being 2 bars, not the ideal scenario, but then again, not the worst either. Because it could always be 1.
Well, Knucks man spotting some boulders to break. If he finds the hammer, he might be able to get in there and see what's hidden.
Those orange Grias being worth 30 is not a bad find, as Spell is located here in Raru.
It can always be mildly useful, in a few different areas. It's not the most useful spell in the world, but it's one less check, and since they're already on the east, if they can manage to cast it, they could possibly pick up something interesting.
You never know, especially with the palaces, could turn stuff into literally 1 HP blue IKs.
That would be actually really fun. Too bad it starts out, relatively expensive usually. But
That's true.
I wonder, I would really like them to check it. Like, to check it out here when they get a chance, and to check it in the palaces. Because it could be a good tool that they could use to get the upper hand, especially when, at the start of some palaces there's a guaranteed container at the statue.
Yeah, and you could use that to figure out if it's the container or if there's an iron knuckle there.
Alright, we got Treasure Island spotted by both runners. Yar. Okay, it's Maze Island, but I think of it as Treasure Island, for sure.
Hey, Maze Island might as well be Treasure Island. I mean, find a glove here, you're literally set.
Absolutely.
Ooh, 300-point Blue Lizalfos. That's actually not bad.
Could you imagine a spell turn enemies into 300-point Blue Lizalfos?
Oh, I would be one of the happiest people alive.
Holy crap, yeah.
Alice already located there for Sassagelink on the maze. Time to see what it is.
There's that jar. How much is a spell? Probably at this point like 60, right? I'm guessing. Probably way too much to cast.
It's 63. It's castable.
Oh! Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, they cast life. Okay, never mind. Wait. They cast life.
Yep. And that was the first drop found for Sassage, and it gave just a candle. Something that's super nice early on.
Yeah.
But we look at it and we're kind of like, later.
It's definitely a good thing to have, for VOD. Maybe Medicine Cave, but I think in most other caves it's not. Most other caves are not really difficult enough to need it.
Oh, absolutely. And Knucks picking up the candle here.
Okay, so it turns into Octoroks. That's a good check. I appreciate it for Sausage.
Ooh, and a jar of magic.
I think Octoroks in the palaces are probably ropes.
I think you're right.
So, nothing too exciting, I believe. But could be used to get through a difficult room. And there's the second drop. Oh, no,
Yep.
First drop.
Yeah, that was the one that had the candle.
All
Knucks
right.
should be hitting the second drop here before too long.
And it's definitely good to pick up a magic container. Especially when you have, a low low magic level.
And that magic can go a long way, especially if Thunder is found early on. Because that could be the difference between Thunder being castable and not.
Absolutely.
All right, Sassage diving 2 here in the maze. Definitely out of logic, but might actually be rewarded.
I hope so. I love going out of order. They have no way to get through the doors at this point, right?
Correct. No fairy, no keys, nothing.
Yeah, there haven't been any keys in the drop pool yet, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, look at these. This is a tasty, tasty screen that Knucks has found himself on. Okay, 400 experience just like that. Not a bad deal.
Yeah, Red Lizalfos being worth 200. That's big. That could make for a nice early grind. And
Yeah.
you were right. Ropes.
Yeah, I thought so. There's usually a little bit of logic behind, which enemy numbers match up with each other. Like Goombas and Doom Knockers are the same. And I'm guessing they're they're gorillas, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're moblins.
I was about to say, it's either the gorillas or the moblins. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, someone Zero Wing in chat mentioning Knucks. Ignore the Zora. Yeah, I hate fighting Zoras on this Hive down stab. I just skip them. They're never worth fighting, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, if you can like jackhammer them, yeah, go for it.
Nice little graveyard tile sitting in some swamp, which gives East Glove hint.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
There's Parappa Cave located for Knucks. Had to go through Fairy Cave to get here, but still has 2 towns to find here on the west. Could be rewarded, and a Bagu's Woods also found.
And with what they picked up, with the candle and a couple levels that they picked up, I don't think any of these caves are going to be scary to them at this point. Well, except for maybe bots. Still might be a little scary.
I mean, bots will just get you at any given point.
Yeah, definitely. And bouncy cats, apparently.
You gotta watch out for the bouncy cats.
Yeah, they were a lot of trouble for me when I first started. And, when I first started, before I first stopped, but, when you're a new Zelda 2 player, like, bouncy cats they're predictable, sure, but it's hard to actually get your attacks lined up exactly with where you're predicting them to be.
Exactly. I mean, you know exactly how they're going to move, but even that can only take you so far.
Yeah. A jumping stab, a jumping crouch stab, for instance, kind of drags your blade across their path, making it a lot easier to hit them.
Yeah, same with a falling crouch stab.
Yeah.
All right, Bagu located for Knucks.
Excellent. Now they can get through Saria, which, they don't have fairy yet, and I doubt that they have dash and jump. So I don't think there's dash at this point in the tournament, huh?
No, there won't be dash, but
yeah.
I mean, even still, with Saria located right by Bagu's Woods, this kind of works out.
Yeah. Sassagelink also was in Saria right then, but up an 8. Maybe he can find something more interesting. We'll see.
Only time will tell. Mirror picked up for Knucks. Gonna turn it in, get the spell from here, which I don't know if he checked the sign.
Right,
it's life.
Okay. Didn't they cast life earlier?
Fire's life.
Okay, there we go. So, yeah, not useful. Not useful at all.
Thanks, Zero Nochi. Oh, and going through is required to actually find Rudo, which has thunder.
Ooh.
So both the medicine and trophy required this time around.
That's pretty interesting. In a maze lies the candle. They've been to the maze, so sorry, Bagu, you're not so useful today.
But that wasn't Bagu, that was Error.
Oh gosh, I what a fool I am.
Go west to find the trophy.
Okay, so Sausage might actually just stumble across the trophy. I think at this point it may well be blocked by Hammer.
Well, I mean, all the item caves are still out there. $500-point bags in the small pool. All right.
Yeah.
All right, game.
The game wants this to be a jet seat, apparently.
I mean, if it truly wanted this to be a jet seed, then it would have been free fire, free thunder, fire be reflect.
So Sausage now picked up his thunder because he had picked up the trophy in Peabag Cave when I had my gaze cast elsewhere.
Yeah, and I do believe that Knucks is going to head back and immediately turn that in.
I think Bagu and Error, I don't think they're twins. I think they're the same person. They have like a teleport spell that you never get in Zelda 2. And he puts on some different clothes, puts on some makeup, and, throws his voice a little bit. I'm not Error, I'm Bagu. That sort of thing.
He just looks at you and is like, you have quite a treasure there in that Herodric cube. Alright, Thunder picked up for Knucks. Just needs to go get the medicine in order to get Reflect, and then it's going to be Find Fairy.
I thought you were making a Diablo reference, but I haven't played Diablo in like 20 years, so...
I was. Oh boy. Big raid coming in from ZSR.
Thanks for the raid, guys. If you haven't seen Zelda 2 Randomizer before, it is a very randomized game of Zelda 2. So, buckle your seatbelts.
Get ready for what is potentially going to be a wild ride.
Yep.
Because this seed has potential.
Now, these guys have not found Fairy yet, right? They don't even know what town it's in. That means that without Fairy, and without a Master Key, and without keys in the drop pool, it's really not practical to go into the palaces yet. They could make a gamble for it. That would be quite a gamble. But it's probably not going to pay off. And they also need to find the glove, which is used to break the blocks, sometimes which you find falling in palaces, but they can be blockers, quite literally, in the palace. So to make it through the palaces, they need to find themselves Fairy or the key. They need to find the glove, and they need a couple spells. They already have Thunder, but they need to get Reflect somewhere. That's required to beat one of the bosses. Sorry, Reflect. Yeah, good times. They know where Jump is. They have Jump, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Jump is very useful in GP. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Also, nice raft going from west to east.
Ooh, yeah.
Life effectiveness not looking too hot right now, but Sassage finding Trophy Cave, getting another jar out of it, so up to 6 bars of magic, which is really nice. And Oh,
Yeah, invisible Moas. So they have the candle, which allows them to see in the dark, but there is a class of enemy that you can't see. That are these floating eyeballs that appear on the eastern continent, and they're literally invisible unless you hit them, in which case they momentarily appear as they like flash. Uh, but you know what they can do? They have the spell. They could guess when it's going to be on the screen and cast spell, and spell turns enemies into other enemies. So they could Knucks could have done that. May not have had enough magic at the time though.
yeah, he could have. And the nice part about spell is it actually sometimes has one of my favorite texts if you have the community text on, which is metamorph thy enemy.
Nice. All right, come on, pick it up. There you go. I thought he was just gonna turn his nose up at that magic container for a second.
Okay, we have a second town located past the Darunia encounters, and hello, Blue Lizalfos, how you doing? As well as Bago's just that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I think in this particular location, okay, cast thunder. That will buy you a few seconds. The Bogos regenerate though, respawn. Lots of Lizalfos up here. Great for experience. Also great for killing you and taking all your experience.
That is true, and he is down to the last life.
Chronic Skillness asking if that was a Hexen reference.
The metamorph by enemy?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it is.
Oh my gosh, you guys are going so old school. The only time I played Hexen was on like my friend's computer back in the day, and you know it's just for a few minutes at a time. But it was great. It was a really cool game. All right, that might be actually that probably is on Knuck's side. Whatever the hidden tile location. Knucks did not have enough magic containers to get into Granny's house. Sassagelink will have what he needs once he gets there, but he's not there yet.
Bright side, though, for Knucks on this. New Kasuto's Ferry.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that opens up the palaces for them. It still could be that they could see blocks from the glove in any of these palaces, and they probably will. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's a very high percentage that they'll come across blocks. But at the same time, the glove could be in a palace, so you might need to take that first step.
Well, that is a possibility. It could also be in Grandma's basement at this point, as Sassage has 7 containers of magic, so could actually check it.
Oh my gosh, Sausage now has all the containers. Holy crap.
Okay, every single container obtained.
Yeah, it's magic time, baby.
Magic stocks on the rise.
Zero saying we missed what was in the spell tower. If there
Spell
was some
tower was a
buffering
heart
there was...
container.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I forgot about the fact we got a hint for it, Nochibato. But yeah, no. Palaces are not included in east or west hints. I forgot that we got the hint that glove is in the east.
Yes, so the locations that the glove could be in are Sunken or Risen Peabag Caves, Grandma's Basement, Spell Tower, Desert Tile, or the Water Tile.
Yeah. So still a lot of locations to check. At this point, jumping into a palace would actually be a little foolish, but, I mean, it could be. Boots in Palace. Required to get the boots out of the water tile. Very unlikely, you know, all things considered, but it could happen. Sassagelink is taking a gamble on a palace, though.
I think trying to finish out this Magic 3, which wouldn't be bad.
Probably. Oh yeah, his levels are still really low. Take the level. Use it. Strike me down with all of your thunder, and your journey toward the dark side will be complete.
Nice Star Wars reference.
Thank you. A little bit more obvious in your Hexen reference.
True.
That's a 100% blocked palace right there. They need that glove.
But we might see the glove here in Sunken for Knucks as I speak it into existence, even though we had the hint.
Oh my gosh. Well, nothing quite as arcane as some of the things I was hoping for earlier, but I always hope for maybe a little bit of a sadistic steed.
A good old basement glove.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Oof.
All right, Knucks gonna push through Valley of Death and see what lies in here.
Yeah, Knucks levels are way higher than Sassagelink's. Of course, Sassage has way more magic containers.
That is true, and just nailing these fairy feet, no problem. We'll probably have one more to do, and this cave tends to be brutal.
Mm-hmm.
There are usually invisible Moas just hiding somewhere around here, as I say.
Sorry, was Reflect in Darunia or Mito?
Reflect was in Mito, and it
Okay.
looks like it's going to be hammer blocked.
Hmm.
All right, Knucks versus this cave, round 2.
You can do it. I believe in you, Knucks.
Orange Lizalfos are sometimes tricky, but also worth 300. Okay, they max rolled.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding. Lots of experience in the seed. I wouldn't say the most experience I've ever seen, but a pretty healthy amount of experience. I think Knucks, you got Fairy, buddy. He cast Shield first, so he might. He tried Fairy Feet.
All right.
I figure if you're gonna use Fairy Feet, you kind of hold off on the shield because you might miss it and you might need to cast Fairy again for another attempt.
That's true, but at the same time, I mean, with Fairy in tow and the enemy that was showing right there at the start, I can't entirely blame him. And small keys in the or small keys, regular keys in the small enemy pool. Small keys in the enemy pool is exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it on any enemies before. So it's a fun little surprise.
And Knucks is going to jump into this P5 at 345. Does have that fire life at the ready. And if Guma is relatively early on in this palace, that could actually be a huge benefit.
Yeah, Sausage also jumping into a palace a little bit. I don't know. He don't have no glove. Did he get the hint for the glove?
I'm not sure. I would assume so.
I hope he runs into no difficulties here, because he's already had to back out of a palace. Fortunately, actually, he's backed out of 2 palaces, I think. Fortunately, the last one, he was only like three rooms in, but you don't want to waste time like that, especially on like 3 different palaces.
Getting quite a few keys here. I'm actually not sure which palace Sassage is in right now.
Yeah, I didn't see when he came in. He might have been buffering her. Oh man, there's no way to get that Link doll, unfortunately. You can't you can't pick up Link dolls with your sword like you can on a lot of other. You can't like you can pick up a lot of other items throughout the series. You have to actually walk into it, if I'm not mistaken, right? So when they put it in that little cubby, it's literally impossible to get. You don't see that too often.
Ooh, this is a fairy requirement or knowing how to do Eco Moa. The three,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's the 3-6.
Yeah, you could do, like you said, there's a trick called Eco Key that's used in vanilla races, and it's possible to do it even with non-standard enemies. As long as it turns into another flying enemy, like a truly flying enemy. However, a real hard trick to do. I think even racers like Mirai would know bad at that. They wouldn't try it. I could see Chroma doing it though, right? Doesn't he do vanilla racing?
Yeah, Chroma would attempt it for sure.
Yeah, but it's really difficult. It's probably one of the tougher tricks in the game to do.
Alright, Knucks just digging through this 5. Sassage into DM. Checking all the entrances.
Yeah, back before there were community rooms, Eco Key was a lot more relevant because, the room would come up way more often. But now that we have so many rooms that were made by our lovely community, most of which are really good.
And then some of them we say things about.
Yeah.
And your room
yeah.
is not one of those in my case.
I think my room is pretty alright.
I mean, every time I see your room in a seat, I'm like, he's coming to say hi.
Yeah. I really am. I think I might make more rooms later on today. Just for the people who aren't aware, when the version that Randomizer is updated, we are going to be including more palace rooms in the randomizer itself, so they can get randomized into the palace. Now, what that means is, if you download Z2 Edit and you watch a few YouTube videos to learn how to use it, or you just kind of, thwack away at it like a caveman until you can use it, you can make kind of whatever room you want within the constraints of the Zelda 2 engine, and you can submit it for approval, and you can get your room into the game, even if you're not part of the Zelda 2 community. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You just post it up on the Discord, and you can kind of get in the game.
Absolutely. All right, attack 4 for Knucks. Just naturally in this P5 so far. No item found, but here's Hammer Cave for Sassage. This could actually be pretty huge. Just so long as he can survive.
Yeah, there's the enemies are cooperating. They are thinking about how to destroy him. I think that someone might have plugged in some AI algorithm into the expansion slot of the Zelda 2 of the NES, because those enemies were shooting their stuff sort of in a coordinated fashion, making it difficult for him. But he did make it through there.
I mean, to be fair, this game cheats by reading our inputs.
It does cheating game, but the cool thing about it is because it cheats, you can cheat the cheater.
You absolutely can, and quite a few of us do.
Because if you know that they know, and they're going to do something in response, that means that you know what they're going to do too. More than they know what you're going to do. If that makes sense.
Alright, Goomba located, and Hammer Cave just has a rock. And Knucks is going to play Goomba very safely, not that I can blame him, just because this fight, if you're not careful, it can go south very quickly.
Life 5 seems more effective than Life 4. You were saying that was a very ineffective life level, right?
Yeah, Life 4 didn't seem very effective, but at the same time, Knucks is shielded, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
only 2 bars coming out from Guma is pretty big.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. The damage he's taking from Guma, even while shielded, that's pretty acceptable. I think this fight is in the bag. However, you can't let your guard down. There we go. Good fight.
All right, I like the play here, actually taking Magic 5 instead of Life 6. One of those little heads-up plays just to refill Magic and be able to cast Fairy again.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Zelda 2 is that sometimes you may want a certain level, but you might have full life. Like this happens more often at the start of the game. Like let's say you want a higher life level, but you're running around at full life. You might actually skip the level and wait until your experience gets to magic, because by that point you'll have taken some damage, and then when you level up, not only will you get the higher life protection, but also you will refill your life. So it's like getting an extra life in your reserve. So that's the sort of thing that can be very helpful, especially early on in the game. Of course, this also applies to magic, and magic is more necessary in palaces.
Oh, absolutely, especially when the key is not in hand. And with how many locations that have been checked so far by both of these runners combined, it's a little alarming as to where the key will be. Bruce, if I had one, I would, just for you, bud.
Fire is linked to life.
Yeah, the fire is actually not half bad, this seed. It's 2 bars, which, yes, that does kind of stink, but it's not the worst that it could be.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen a lot of Zelda 2 randomizer races, obviously not talking about anyone in particular in chat, but we did get a raid earlier. Fire starts out... Okay, the spells have different costs in terms of how much magic you need to use them, and that cost goes down as you level up your magic level. That's what the magic level does. So, the different spells kind of lower in cost and start at different costs in their own kind of unique ways. And fire starts out really expensive, but it goes down very consistently. Like once you get to, like, I don't know, Magic 3 or something, and then it eventually gets very cheap. So when it's linked, which is a Zelda 2 randomizer feature to make the fire spell actually useful, when it's linked to life, that can be quite useful because you have a much cheaper version of the life spell, which also happens to give you the fire spell, which has some uses.
I mean, you're getting 2 birds with 1 stone in that, because you have the beams that you really want to try to keep, but at the same time, you also have restoration.
Yes, absolutely. Bruce Wayne, thank you for the biddies. Appreciate it. We will put that in the treasure hoard at the end of the game. It would be interesting if we could pool bits for, like, the winner of a race. I think that'd probably be illegal or something, but
All right, so Knucks coming back into this glove blocked 2, just to see what all is available here.
here we go. And again, if you're a new Zelda racer, what Knucks did right there is he had max magic, and there was a magic refill on the floor. So he used his fire spell, which was linked with life, to refill his life, and then pick up the red jar.
Nice key at the end of this. dead end room, which will save at least a little bit of magic on Fairy.
Man, Knucks looking for all the jars, even when you didn't really need it. I get it. I get it. But I think, maybe at that point, being down one container, kind of leave the jar there. It's a little bit of a time investment.
Howdy, Coper. Glove is over in the east. We're not sure, or I would say we're not sure, but we are certain that it is in Sunken Peabag Cave.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sausage has not found it yet.
All right, Knucks continuing through P2 right now as Sassage is making the way through DV, going to go into 5, most likely.
He's doing a lot of gambling right now. This is like the 4th palace that he's, checked to see if he can get through it, when really he wouldn't need to check palaces blindly if he finished checking the overworld first.
I do agree with that, and I think Sassage is making these gambles because it's just more towards his playstyle.
Yeah, and I mean, there's players like Trails, who is a legendary player, of course, who will try to do whatever palace he comes across. The difference here is that he's actually going out of his way to this palace.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, of course, P4, for example, when you see it, you can't beat it.
Yep.
Because it requires the Reflect spell.
And the medicine over in the west is hammer blocked right now.
So you might have noticed Sausage waiting on that square for a little bit. If you're newer, you might be wondering what that is. That is that's an encounter skip, basically. So there's forced encounters, and in those forced encounters, you're moving from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, so you're covering an entire screen worth. And then there's random encounters where you start in the middle and you go to either the left or the right. And these forced encounters in Valley of Death, where you have to go across all the lava and stuff, they're considered probably the hardest forced encounters in the game. And what happens is, if you get a random encounter, if you encounter an enemy while you're within one of those tiles, even if you haven't activated the forced encounter yet, it will go to the random encounter instead of the forced encounter. In which case, it's usually easier and, of course, shorter. Like I said, you're only moving through half the screen instead of the full screen, so it's obviously shorter. But it's also not necessarily designed to be as difficult, and in this case, it randomized to the time to his button press, so that he would be overlapping the forced encounter tile when he did that. You can also Fairy Feet, but that's kind of a trick that's requires a bit of practice. Not everyone can do it. Fairy Feet is faster.
Fairy Feet, I mean, it requires very, very specific number of frame presses on some of them, depending upon how far you are from the edge of the screen.
Yeah, and of course you need enough magic to cast Fairy. And if this is earlier in the game, when you have lower magic levels or fewer magic containers, you might only be able to do, Fairy like once per life, in which case you're kind of burning through your lives. And if you make a mistake, you're kind of in a bad position. So there's definitely some gambling involved, like in terms of can you pull it off or not? So I guess it's not true gambling. Yeah, it's a really cool trick, and technically you can do fairy feet without casting fairy. There's link feet, but that's like a TAS. It's pretty much a TAS only trick at this point. Maybe someone's pulled it off in a race.
I mean, Chroma has pulled it off in races, but Chroma, as far as I know, is the only runner we have that actually has pulled it off in the races.
Yeah. It's really hard. Yeah, Chroma is a beast. I haven't seen as many of his races lately, but I do remember him doing it, and I was like, I had my socks blown off. Because like I said, you'd be forgiven for saying it's a TAS only trick, because I think it's frame perfect, probably, like literally. And
it's like double or triple frame perfect.
Yeah, it's crazy. And not only the perfect tricks in other games.
Ooh, we have an item room here for Knucks. Is it going to be that hammer?
Oh, it's the boots.
Boots aren't bad.
Boots are my fave, man. I love boots. Like, maybe they're not the most useful item all the time, but I just love them, man. Now, cool thing about boots, in regular Zelda 2, it allowed you to walk over very specific water tiles. And so they were like lines that were drawn on the map that you could walk over with the boots, and you couldn't really tell the difference just by looking at it. But in Zelda 2 Randomizer, the standard flags to race with is that all the water can be walked on, except the water on the very edge of the screen that are blocking off the edge of the map. But that makes it way more useful. You can do really cool stuff, like you can lure enemy encounters over a water tile and then just kind of like bulldoze them, because there's no actual water random encounters, so you just clear them. You don't get anyone who spawns. You don't get any random encounters that spawn when you're on the water, and so that kind of queues up the random encounters in the game. So as soon as you go onto a land tile, they'll immediately spawn, so you can make it very predictable when they're going to spawn. And of course, there's often paths which you absolutely need to take the boots, and sometimes it's just faster to take the boots. So a very useful item to have, and they're fun. And you can get this item that Knucks is getting, which,
Yep.
500 point be back, okay. Maybe you'll get a level. Maybe.
I mean, the nice part about boots is that it does give a form of encounter manipulation, so it does get used heavily to any Z2R runner's advantage.
Absolutely. You know what? I think boots should make a return in the Zelda series. Especially, like, if we're not going to have underwater, like, diving like we did in the older 3D games. Like, if we're doing Breath of the Wild style stuff, like, having the boots would be so cool in a new Zelda game.
That would be amazing. All right, Knucks going into this 3-6 over here on the west. Or not west, over on the east. The west! There we go.
They have high five to this palace. They're both trying to do it. Sausage might have an incredible amount of difficulty doing so, though, seeing as he doesn't have the glove still. I think Knucks is really going to be pulling away at this point. You need to pick up that glove, Mr. Sausage.
I would agree with that, just because the glove at this point is just beyond useful.
Absolutely.
Granted, at this point, it could be an item hunt for the hammer within any of the palaces. Oh, it's P6. Hello,
Yep.
Barba.
Yep, and I was about to start talking about the 50-50 50-50 statues that you get in both P3 and P6. When you hit a location that could have that could have a jar drop in 3 and 6, and it's possible, and in GP it's possible that an enemy will come out instead. And if you kill that enemy, you can never get the drop until you refresh, restart.
Yep.
All right,
And
good fight.
thank you all in chat for answering Jake Hooper's question. Much appreciated.
Yeah, Maze Island was pretty nice.
All right, 3 palaces down for Knucks, while Sassage is working on taking out this Barba for the first palace.
Well, it's going to be good to see the Sausage get a boss under his belt.
Especially when it's Barba, since she can be one of the harder bosses to fight.
Yeah. Alright, good kill.
Very, very nice fight there from Sassage getting through Barba. And small jar for the boss reward is, let's say, okay.
Yeah, in this particular room, you can use it to cast jump and save theoretically a little bit of time. Like if you queue it up before the jar drops, you could jump over that key portcullis or whatever you want to call it.
It's definitely a portcullis.
Nice. Yeah, it would save a little time. Not a lot of time. Just a second or two.
Upstab going to be picked up here for Knucks, and Desert Tile has been seen.
When you jump, press up to stab. Yep, that's what you call it, upstab. And there have been, a lot of appearances of downstab over the years in, various Zelda media, but upstab doesn't make quite as many references, because downstab is just cooler, but upstab is still very useful.
I mean, the only other place that I have seen upstab is Smash, as VT points out.
Yeah.
Same wavelength, my friend.
Exactly. Poor Link never really was good in any Smash game, though. I hate to say it. I love him. I try to play him, but he's just not that good.
All right, Knucks going to jump into 1 here and dig this out. I don't think we saw the item in 6.
And we might... what do you think the chances of needing, for instance, the hammer would be?
100%, because every item cave except for one's been checked, and that item cave is behind the hammer.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna need to pick up the hammer then. So they need to keep searching. The hammer at this point is gonna be in a palace, so they need to find that.
Absolutely.
That could be a way that Sausage catches up. I hope. Oh, Sausage burned a gem? Oh. I don't know if he should be doing that at this point.
We do have a hint for medicine in the west, and medicine does lead to reflect.
Sausage is going through Maze Island again. Hasn't he already checked this palace?
I think so.
So, I mean, he's checked like every palace he's come across, so I assumed he'd check this one. So I don't know why he would think he could get through it now. Unless he picked up the glove when we weren't looking.
I don't think he's picked up the glove, and nice raft, I think.
Yeah, that's the raft. If you're a Crystals fan out there, you'll get it when you see it being used. If you see it being used.
Oh yeah, that is the raft. It's been a while since I've actually seen the sprite, so...
Yeah, I kind of started a very confusing tradition when I made this sprite of kind of giving collectible items custom sprites, and it confusing the commentators and the viewers.
Hey, I appreciate it though.
Yeah, I appreciate you appreciating it. I really need to make another one sometime. It's been like over a year since I made one.
Oh, Risen is absolutely nothing. So that hammer looks like it's gonna be in either 4 or 6.
Okay. But we've already gone through 6, and nobody found the item there.
Exactly.
Okay, things could get a little spicy at this point then. Very, very spicy meatball of a seed.
Well, I don't know if the item was found in 5 either, so it could be in 5. That is true, Jake Oper. Wait, Hammer could be in Grandma's basement as well, because Sassage hasn't gone back to Nuxudo to see if there's something in basement.
Yeah. True. Wait, I thought you said it was in the west? Oh, wait.
The medicine's in the west. There's only one cave
Hammer,
left,
yeah.
and that's going to be Heart Container Cave.
Yeah, Hammer could be in Grandma's basement. Sausage buddy, I love you, but you gotta make sure you check your overworld stuff. It's like, okay, if you come across a palace and you think you can do it, sure, but like, you know, overworld is where you get the items much faster than everywhere else.
Oh, absolutely.
Typically, except for Treasure Island. Treasure Island can be real quick.
Treasure Island could be very slow, or it could be very fast.
I think the heart was in the spell tower, wasn't it?
The heart was in Spell Tower. Not sure about Grandma's basement, but Sassage does have 6 hearts, so it makes sense. Good call, Nochi.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Alright, so the hunt continues. The hunt for the hammer. It also could be that these guys might really want to get the magic key at this point, even though I know Knucks is kind of well on his way to getting through the palaces. You know, he's beaten the 2 hardest palaces, as well as 2, which is one of the longer palaces in the Western continent. Actually, I think 2 is usually longer than both 1 and 3, right? So he's gone through most of his need for the key. However, there is a room that can appear in GP, and that can force you to have a key, and it can't be ferried through. So it's possible that'll come up and will block him, and he might want to farm like a small key at that point, or maybe he'll get the magic kit, and and use it. And you might be like, well, but he's picking up keys as he goes. Yes, but every time he goes through a door, even if he's ferrying through it, he's going to use those keys.
Yeah, it just leads to a massive question mark, if you will, as to what will happen later on. But there are a lot of keys just sitting here for free.
It reduces the need for them to cast a fairy spell.
That's true. It does save on that beautiful MP.
And they've got a lot of that MP. So at a certain point, they might actually cast Thunder in a few of these palaces. Because if they've got keys, they might not need their magic for much else. There are fairy required rooms, but they don't appear very often.
Hey, and this is one of the rooms that actually could be Eco Moed. And it does lead to another elevator. We'll see if going up is the correct choice here. It might be. It might also just be continue holding right.
Any new viewers who are confused as to why Knucks Man suddenly has less magic, when you get hit by those bubbles, they look very similar to bubbles in other Zelda games. The little orbs with the skull on it that is on Sasha's screen. Yeah, they're like anti-fairies. Yeah. Every frame that you're in contact with it, inside its hitbox, you will lose 1 magic point. And so, in the Eco Key room that Knucks was faring through, he did allow the bubble to overlap him for a while, and so that's why it drained some of his magic. And again, right here.
Yeah, anti-fairies, they're a bit of a pain in the butt, but they're also not the worst thing. Oh, this is one of my favorite community rooms.
Oh yeah, this is a cool room. And Knucks just kind of plows through it.
I mean, fairy will allow you to do that, and it's either 4, 5, or 6 for that hammer that will then lead to the medicine, and in turn allow reflect to be cast. But Knucks will have 1 palace remaining. Sassage will have 5 still without that glove.
Didn't see. I think Knucks' screen was buffering when he picked up his item in P3. Child? Okay, cool.
All right, Knucks going for the setup here. Just a little off.
Ah, shoot. Too bad.
But still keeps it and does the corner strat against Rebo. Taking Rebo down, getting 200 points, picking up that jar, and that's P3 done. So that's what, 5 palaces now for Knucks?
The tracker says 4. He doesn't have... Yeah, he didn't do P1. Oh, no. Okay, so he did do P1. And just appearing right there. He has not done Karak, obviously, because he doesn't have Reflect. So he's on the hunt.
That he is. So he is sitting at 6, 7, or 576 right now. Looks like might be 577 going into GP.
I appreciate him, not just going for the cheapest levels. So the life levels use the cheapest, the second cheapest are magic, and the most expensive are attack. And if you just press start whenever you get to the level up screen, you'll end up with a high life level. However, at a certain point, life kind of becomes redundant, and it can get in the way. Like, you might want to die in Zelda 2. That's just kind of how it happens. And if your life is like life 8 or 7, that can take a long time.
Yeah, depending upon what is hitting you, that can literally eat up 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. Especially if you've been killing enemies, and all of a sudden you're just stuck there with like a bubble or something like that.
Yeah, totally a situation I've not been in before.
No, no way.
You can't
Of
prove
course
it.
not. No one can prove something like that. Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Sausage at this point. You know, he's going to these palaces, but he's just not going to beat him because he does not have the glove.
Well, he should be able to beat 3 here. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
there was no
No.
glove block in 3, but we don't know about 4 yet all that much. We know that 2's glove blocked. We know that 1's glove blocked. 5, if I remember correctly, is not. Ooh, an unfortunate death there for Sassage, but it happens.
Sasha's faring through this room as well. It's a bit unfortunate. You know, I guess it's the quickest way to get up from the elevator on the left. But the room is also kind of designed to be interesting to ferry through, so that's pretty cool.
I mean, it is a fairy glove block, and as long as you have one of those 2 things, you're able to make it through. And there's the child picked up for Sassage as Knucks is just spelunking through this 6, trying to find where the item is.
Can you believe Mom left the child here in P3? Like, it seems like a dangerous place to leave a child, but I guess not as dangerous as P6. Knucks, that is a dead end, buddy.
Fortunately, he did recognize it and up aid, and now it's time for Sassage to fight the horse.
Yeah, this horse is gonna stand no chance. I will say those Sausage's levels are not super great, even at this point in the game. You know, we're over an hour in, so this could be a little bit more trouble than Knucks had. Do the jump now? Yeah, there you go.
Yes, perfect. Has the setup. And there it is.
So we were talking about how enemies read your inputs earlier. So Iron Knuckles are one of those enemies, and Ribanak is a modified Iron Knuckle. And so when you're trying to quarter him like that, so you can downstab him, and that's really the only way you can downstab him. He will back up at different rates depending on whether you're pressing in his direction or not. So you kind of have to get a feel for that to know when to make the jump to try to get on his head. Otherwise, you could push him off the screen, or you could not push him far enough, and take some damage.
So Sassage was stopping and thinking about taking Magic 4 or just holding off to Attack 4, I believe, and has decided to hold off until hitting that 870.
So you can see Knucks's experience situation here. He's in a palace. I'm assuming this is P4. No, P6.
No, he's in 6 still. He's trying to find this item.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Although honestly, the hammer could be in P4, right?
I mean, it's possible. We've had a few seeds so far this tournament where the item that's required to then get the other item for Reflect is just sitting in P4.
Yeah. Oh. Needed a little bit of letting off the gas there. So unfortunately, Knucks did jump into that fire, which still does a lot of damage, even at life 6.
So it looks like Sassage is coming back into this 6th, and Knucks is just retracing steps, trying to find where this item room's going to be.
Yeah, D-Mean in chat saying he's going to shake his head if Sausage skips another level when he places the gem. Yeah, Sausage isn't wrong to think that he is behind. However, at this point, like his levels are so low that it's affecting his progression. You don't want that. So burning gems, it might save you, 10, 15 seconds in the short term, but in the long term, it's costing him far more than that.
Exactly.
Like he stopped to fight that blue IK. If his attack level was like level 6 by now, he would have finished that encounter. He would have finished that fight much quicker.
If the attack effectiveness on 6 is quite good, yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Knucks is back at the start of the palace.
Interesting, they're both in this palace right now looking for that hammer. Although, for all Sausage knows, he's looking for the glove.
That is true. Sausage does not have the hint for the glove. Still has not gone to Sunken to check that, which really isn't that long of a check.
Maybe he thinks he can't get there. Maybe he thinks he needs to raft over to that location, or go through a hammer blocked continent connector or something like that to get to that cave. Maybe he just doesn't realize he hasn't seen all the overworld, because I can't imagine that at this point you would think to check the overworld, finish off those.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, overworld checks at this point are definitely necessary, and it's one of those things that the more of them you get done, the more likely you are to find the thing. Item room here for Knucks. Is it going to be the hammer?
It is!
Let's go!
It's hammer time, baby. And Sausage will find that eventually, and he will come across an item that he needs, but not necessarily the item that he wants. Because he's going to follow up on this hammer, and he's not going to find the glove as a result. But it might lead him to checking the overworld again, just generally. So that could have him end up with a glove at some point.
It's a possibility. All right, Heart Container Cave.
Yeah.
Time to pull out that medicine.
This part of Heart Container Cave is identical to the Parappa Connector Cave, and there's another one I'm forgetting.
Fairy.
And, yeah, Fairy. One of the parts of Fairy Cave. And if you kill the enemies in one of these, it'll actually transfer over and kill the enemies in the other.
Which
so
is really interesting.
Confusion. Yeah.
This game is weird, man.
Well, the NES has its limitations after all. Of course, the enemies respawn, once you change the continent or go into a palace or die. I mean, game over.
Or go into a town, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Alright, Knucks gonna turn in his medicine. Sasha's gonna get his medicine and still not have the glove.
All right. Knucks in full go mode, has Reflect, ready to go into P4, ready to clear that. Just absolutely destroy Karok, and it's going to be a good time. And then it'll be off to GP.
Oh, yeah.
For the real good time.
Oh yeah, what I was trying to say earlier is that Knucks' experience is at a point where it's really not going to happen that he gets 3,000 experience before the end of this palace. So you're going to notice that he's going to pass up on killing enemies when he can. He's going to avoid picking up P bags because there's literally no way he's going to make like 3,000 experience before the end of the palace. Like unless he clears the whole palace, that's just not going to happen. So it'll literally do nothing. So he's not going to want to spend any amount of time trying to get experience. And in fact, here's Karok. So he's going to place a gem here once he defeats Karok, which if you have only played Zelda 2 in passing, this is a harder version of Karok, which was designed by J. Ron Elendar. Because the Karok fight previously was extremely boring, and now it's just, you know, a little bit less challenging than the others. But it was totally a go-to. But actually, Knucks burning that gem at the end of the palace, saying, I don't need any more levels, I don't need anything, I'm just going to go and beat the game as is.
That's fair. Wait,
Yeah.
he did not place a gem?
Whoa. No, he burned it. Oh, he didn't. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
What gem did he not place?
I
Did
can
he not
see
place one?
I can see the look of confusion on his face. Yeah, it must be one, because I think the tracker was just like, yeah, I'll put I'll put that on. Yeah, he looked very confused. We can see his webcam when his stream is not buffering.
Well, that might actually give Sassage a bit of an opening.
A bit, yeah. He still doesn't have his glove, but Sasha's about to pick up his next gem. Please don't burn this. Oh man, this is kind of a close fight between Sausage and Karok, but he pulls in the win. Oh man, see, Sausage's levels at this point compared to Knucks, man. So, yeah, his next level was 870, so if he had killed a couple extra enemies, he could have double leveled here. So totally different situation that Knucks and Sausage were in compared to each other.
Knucks going back to make sure the gem got placed here in 4, and it didn't. He did it too quickly.
Wow. So he's trying to save a couple seconds, and he lost like 2 minutes. Oh. It happens. He doesn't know it, but he's still in a good position.
All right, so GP entry is 1:16:41 according to his timer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was P1 as well. Oh, this room. This is a fun room.
The theater room?
I love the theater room.
Yeah, in GP you can find all sorts of rooms that have the curtains that are not a boss room. In the other palaces, you usually don't see curtains in any other rooms. But GP is a special experience. If you've never played Zelda 2 before, you will discover how special it is when you do.
I mean, GP is the only palace that has a boss room with 6 pillars in it.
True. Yeah. Alright, so these very dangerous enemies, Focus, yeah, they'll chase you, and they are the, what is that? I will hunt you, I will find you, and when I do, I will kill you, or whatever. I think I messed up.
You nailed it.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, that's what these Focus are. These bird enemies that jump everywhere. But we have other bird enemies in this birdie palace. We've got the fire-throwing birds that I always forget the name of, but we just call them spicy chickens or firebirds or whatever. No, they're Fokeru, I think. But
Yeah, they're Fokeru.
Yeah, but that's a dumb name, so we just call them spicy chicken.
They're hot wings.
Yeah. And then there's the King Bot, which is, of course, the jazziest of enemies in a palace. A lot of people, you know, who just, they don't pick up upstab. They don't upstab around the potential locations. They'll complain about it. The greatest enemy in the palace.
All right, quick T-Bird find here for Knucks.
And that's actually not great for Knucks. And it won't be great for Sausage because you can often use the presence of T-Bird to tell when you're on the right path, but if it's a quick T-Bird, if you get him after 5 or 6 rooms, you're not really gaining much useful knowledge from that. If he's after a bunch of decision points, like a bunch of branches in the palace, then you know that all those other branches are useless, unless you're playing in max rando or something.
That's true. All right, Knucks versus T-Bird, take 2.
Rustoy saying, Zelda 2 is the most concentrated hate in gaming, except for maybe Ikari Warriors and Bionic Commando. People love Bionic Commando, though. I haven't played a lot of Bionic Commando, but I do know Ikari Warriors pretty well. If you haven't seen it, there's a channel called Displaced Gamers, and he goes into the assembly of these games and he tries to fix them. And he did something on Ikari Warriors recently, and I think he's going to do another video on them as well. So he kind of messed with the walk speed and stuff in Ikari Warriors and improved things.
I agree with you there, Ty. Knucks, T-Bird. I'm just sitting here being like, don't do it. He at least makes it through, though.
He does. Yeah, his T-Bird strategy seemed a little risky. But he is on the other side, so he just has to find that Dark Link or Dark Crystallis hero or Dark Cement, and there he is. Okay, I guess there really wasn't a whole lot of Palace, so even though T-Bird was relatively early, there must have been a branch earlier that just branched off into like a huge dead end.
Oh, there was the standoff for a moment. Five hits to go.
Yep, your attack levels and your life levels do not matter in this fight. The only thing that matters is the shield spell and how many heart containers you have.
And there it is. Knucks going to be advancing to face Chroma and finishing with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, 58 seconds. GG's.
Yes, everyone, please get your GG's in chat, and we're going to try to pull in our winner here.
And shortly after Knucks finishes, Sassage does go ahead and forfeit.
Yep, so we'll be seeing them both here in a second. There's Knucks in the waiting room. GG, Knucks! What? You there? I heard your mic kind of click on for a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So, the story of the difference here is you finding that glove where Sassage did not.
Ooh.
Yep.
He didn't get the hint for the gloves?
Negative, as we are joined by Sassagelink. GG's, dude.
Hey, GG's.
GG's, Knucks.
So,
Yeah.
Sassage, do you know where that glove was?
Either Risen or the water spot or water tile.
Yeah.
It was in Risen.
Okay, yeah, I was going back around trying to find Risen. I don't think I ever came across it.
Yeah. There were no blockers or anything. It was just something you didn't come across, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, I knew I was missing somewhere, and once I found the hammer, I went, "Oh, that's got to be on the hammer tile on the east." But nope.
No, it was on the southern part of the river canyon, and unfortunately, you just kept missing it each time.
I think south and all the way west, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but you you definitely put up a fight. We saw you bravely going into all the palaces and trying to complete them as best as you can, and you did get a few under your belt. But the glove was required for most of them, so it could have been better for you. If only one or two of the palaces required the glove, then you would have been able to get a lot of them under your belt and maybe not have as much ground to make up. But that just wasn't the case this time.
Yeah, I started going in looking for the hammer and boots in a lot of the palaces, just hoping to get something I needed.
And it wasn't a terrible decision because at the end you guys did have to get the hammer out of a palace, so you did need to dig up the palaces really. And I think Knucks, you also dug almost all of the palaces as well, right? Because
Yep.
you kind of were able to figure out which one the hammer was in.
Yeah, it was down between either 5 or 6 for me, and I was really hoping it was not 5.
We always hope that it's not 5.
Unfortunately, this time around, it was not 5. That P6 having the hammer definitely was a savior.
Yeah, it was 1, 2, and 5 were all glove blocked pretty early on, so I knew that important items weren't in there that were needed.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but Knucks, you're going to be facing off against Chromaticalism after this.
Yes,
So,
such a prize for winning these 2 races.
yeah. Well, he's lost races before. You could do it.
If he just never finds something, and then I might have a chance.
Yeah, for those, because we were joined by a raid from ZSR1. For those who don't know, Chromaticalism has won tournaments in the past, and he is one of the most ferocious racers in the community. He comes from vanilla and is not to be trifled with. So, are there going to be some practice races between now and then?
Probably. Time permitting.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big one, pretty cool race, and things happen. Sometimes you can take a race off of someone who's potentially going to beat you 9 times out of 10, but you just happen to get on that one time. It happens.
It'll be fun either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and something else to mention with Chroma is that Chroma is the defending standard tournament champion, but with how everything's been going, especially with the seeds that have been coming up, literally anything could happen.
Absolutely.
Now, Knucks, I gotta ask you, what's with that T-Bird strat, dude? Because you almost gave me a heart attack.
I don't like the pendulum for whatever reason. I just like standing in the middle and getting triples that way.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, a lot of people like casting Reflect for that. Did you? I didn't see it. Did you cast
I usually shield and reflect, yeah.
Yeah.
If I can cast it, I cast Thunder, Shield, and Reflect.
And shoutouts to Fire Life being an MVP for both of you in this seed.
Yeah, that was a
Oh,
lifesaver.
There was a lot of magic. Both you guys ended up maxing out your magic meters. Actually, that was something that a sausage pulled off earlier. He picked up a lot of the items before Knucks did, like in the beginning of the seed. Just happened to miss unfortunately one of the most important items. But you did have an advantage in terms of a lot of the other items. I think you had all 8 magic containers, probably like 10 minutes or 15 minutes before he did.
Okay, it was right about half an hour I was maxed out. So.
Even still, super useful to have early on in a seed.
Yep.
But I can't think of any more questions, so I'll let you have it, Nightcrawler.
Well, I got a few questions. So Knucks, you're going to be doing some practice races, and people can join you on your stream to watch you do that. Is there anything else that you're going to be streaming over the course of the coming week?
I do a lot of Link to the Past randomizer too, so. Tomorrow I'm doing a casual race with a friend of mine for Z2R. It's going to be terrible.
Nice. Well, I'm sure we have a lot of racers a lot of viewers in chat who might be very interested to see those. So please, guys, if you want to check it out, give Knucks a follow and check back on his stream every now and then, and you can see how he does in other Zelda games. How about you, Sausage? What you doing this next week? Anything on Twitch?
No, nothing on Twitch. I'm gonna be digging out from feet of snow right now, so.
Yeah, gosh, I haven't been snowed in yet. I feel it coming though.
Yeah, started last night around here, and before the race it was up to about 2 feet, and it's been a whiteout since, so I'm gonna have to go shovel again.
Well, Sausage, it's unfortunate to see you go from the tournament this early in the brackets, but you did make it here, so that's definitely an accomplishment. I probably couldn't make it out of pools if I were racing now. So well done, man. And hopefully we'll see you in the next tournament.
Yeah, I'll be around. This tournament was just something I knew I was outmatched in, but something to help try to make me better.
Yeah, exactly. You've gotta get your feet wet if you want. Yeah, you gotta jump in the water. There's some kind of never-ending story quote that I'm trying to reference there.
Well, and at the same time, with being out of the tournament, at least standard in and of itself, that doesn't mean that you can't continue playing, because I have a feeling you might see something for the Noboru Invitational.
Yeah, right now I'm 50-50 if I'll get into it, but I probably will.
What I like to hear, my friend.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you and your races in the future, man.
Thank you, and again, thanks for putting the race on. Really appreciate all the work everybody puts in, and GG's Knucks. Best of luck against Chroma. He's a tough one.
Yeah, thanks. GG's to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week we're gonna have a brutal match between Knucks and Chromatoclism. There's gonna be blood on both sides. We're gonna see a heck of a race. So if you guys are in chat, please join us again next week for that. But there's 5 more races today. I don't know if they're all going to get restreamed, but I'm sure quite a few of them will be. So we'll see you all later. I guess that just about does it.
Yeah,
BT, you in here?
Yeah, I'm here. I think you covered most of what I'd normally say. I'd once again give our runners, Knucksman and Sassagelink, a follow. Also want to say thank you to our commentators, Nightcrawler and Sonny for your work. Yep, we're going to try to get as many races from the standard tournament as we can. I believe the next ones are at 7 o'clock, so about an hour and a half. Might be getting one of those races on CSR main for y'all. But other than that, thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.